I was looking for something fun to watch this weekend. Now, scrolling through my theater's ticket app, I saw a few new offerings, but when I saw the poster for this film, I had to stop and look. I did see a crazy trailer for A24's sci-fi action-adventure comedy starring the lovely Michelle Yeoh and the fantastic Jamie Lee Curtis, like a couple weeks before. So I just had to click and order 2 tickets for this showing. Now, the title itself is a big clue about what to expect from a film from the guys who brought us Swiss Army Man back in 2016. Everywhere, Everything, All at Once is a crazy, wild ride through multiple dimensions, genres, and emotions. Hi, I'm Rob, and this is A Constantly Racing Mind. If you look at the synopsis for this film on IDMB, you'll see that the following. An aging Chinese immigrant is swept up in an insane adventure where she alone can save the world by exploring other universes connected with the lives she could have led. Or you could just simply say that an Asian owner of a laundromat is trying to do her business taxes. But unfortunately, her life is about to come crashing down on her all at once. Now, Michelle Yeoh stars as Evelyn, the owner of her family's business, a laundromat. Taxes are due, and she has a mess of receipts on her desk as she tries to figure out what to do with them. Now, in the film, her mild-mannered husband, Raymond, pronounced Waymond, comes into the room. But he doesn't want to bother her, but he also has divorce papers in his hand. Now, he really doesn't want to get a divorce, but hey, something new to try. Now, a bonus to this delightful cast is Ke Huy Quan, better known to you and me as Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and the Goonies, of course. After 20 years of not being in front of the camera, he has returned to a role that shows how good an actor he really is. Evelyn's daughter Joy, portrayed by Stephanie Hsu, has a girlfriend, Becky, and she is bugging her mother. She wants to know if Becky can come to Evelyn's party for her father, who has a more traditional view on family and values. Now, already one can see that this is a story that will center on this family unit. Circles play a large part in this film, probably in a metaphysical, metaphorical sense, as you will note, starting with the washers themselves. James Hong plays her father, a semi-invalid who comes downstairs from her family quarters above the laundry, and of course he wants to eat. He's hungry and probably kind of grouchy. Now, Joy wants to introduce her girlfriend to her grandfather, but you know, Evelyn isn't sure how well that's going to go over with her father, who is very vocal about his traditional opinions. Like many parents, he disapproves of his daughter's marriage to Raymond and her decision to open the laundromat and live a life he dislikes. Yes, she too has issues with her daughter's choices in life. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a film about coming to terms with our lives and what could have been. Guess how well that went over with Joy. But I digress. They have an appointment with an IRS auditor that they need to get to figure out her taxes, which are already past due. Now, if you're new here, we cover the film genres of sci-fi, horror, action-adventure, pop culture, and all things geek. So if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be aware of all my new content. Now, movies that start so erratic that one needs to take a few minutes to allow the audience to handle what or how to watch the film. Now, the directors made this happen soon after arriving at the IRS building and in the elevator. Now, Raymond, or Waymond, while in the elevator going up to the floor where they have their appointment, suddenly transforms. Think of the film The Matrix as the agents take over a citizen of the Matrix. Perhaps Raymond was possessed by a Waymond from another dimension. Think about that. He tells Evelyn that she has a purpose to save this world and all the other worlds in the multiverse. And suddenly he is back to being Evelyn's silly husband. The IRS auditor is a frumpy, grumpy, not so happy civil servant played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who dons a wig, makeup, and a pot belly. She becomes Deidre Bobidra, and her role in this, along with the whole cast, is multifaceted as they find themselves cast in a multi-dimensional adventure to help Evelyn in her quest. And Jamie Lee Curtis does an excellent job and is fantastical just in itself. Now, this is where the writers and directors Dan Kwan and Danielle Scheinhardt throw the kitchen sink. Films like the nonsensical Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Of course, the fate-induced the Adjustment Bureau, and the martial arts, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Ratatouille with instead of a rat, think of a raccoon, and the Matrix, as I mentioned before. The other dimensions start closing in around Evelyn and her current life issues, including the IRS audit, but that isn't going well at all. Evelyn is pulled out of one dimension into others, only to find that there is a prime or alpha, the first universe where all decisions she has made have spooled up other tangent universes. Certainly we all wonder where we would be now if we had made different decisions. If you are as old as I am, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Every decision Evelyn has made in her life, she now learns how to sample those diverse experiences and use them to save the multiverse. For example, being a chef at a Benihana gives her knife skills, and I don't mean just for cooking. In other dimensions, she is a famous actress, which gives her confidence, a martial artist, which helps her in her battles, and a sign twirler, which also helps her in her battles. A lesbian in a mad, crazy world where she and Deidre live together in a strained relationship where their phalanges are made of hot dogs. Fingers. And just who or what is causing all this chaos? As Evelyn's universe is collapsing, the veil between worlds shifts and thins, allowing people she knows to take on different characteristics, usually psychologically projected by Evelyn, in my belief. Her mild and meek husband becomes a master of martial arts as Tangent Wayman fights off evil Deidre and her minions, and this is when she learns about the Jobi Tapaki, a being from the Alphaverse who is bent on finding Evelyn Prime and whose goal is to undo the multiverse. Now, there is a lot of metaphor playing out in the film. Family tensions between generations and personalities that once were close to each other are now distant and foreign. There are people in Evelyn's life whom she perceives as antagonistic, who are closer to her spiritually than she believes. The film is about coming to terms with the decisions that she and others have made, and embracing those decisions and those whose lives are part of her own. Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, better known as the Daniels, filmed the action in such a way so I didn't feel that it detracted from the story, but helped carry you along with the various dimensional slips. Now, cinematically, the film tells a story that may seem very confusing, but is very elegant. The directors bring terror, action, and a certain metaphysical reality that is just out of reach. You know it's there, you know that there is a meaning there, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Now, the band Sun Lux's musical score hits all the right notes, hitting all the right beats during the action scenes, the more tender moments, and the swelling during the dimensional swapping that makes your head spin. Mitski, David Byrne, a flute playing Andre 3000, Randy Newman, Moses Sumney, and amongst others, collaborate on the 49-track soundtrack. Now, I once described the film Sucker Punch as a beautiful mess. Everything, everywhere, all at once is, in fact, beautiful. Still, overall, I believe it leaves the audience with a feeling of satisfaction and self-resolution. You get that kind of good feeling as you walk out the theater. Now, the film is rated R, and it was written and directed and produced by the Daniels. And Michelle Yeoh served as the executive producer along with the others. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video, and check out other film, prop, and cosplay videos. Take care.